MCU fans are all talking about Werewolf by Night, but the talk of the fandom is when will we get our Midnight Suns movie? People are asking because Werewolf left us with a lot of questions while making major steps forward for the next film. Watch till the end to find out all 3 major steps taken towards the Midnight Suns movie and why we think Werewolf was better off without the rumored cameos. First up, how did the heroes of Werewolf by Night move forward to a Midnight Suns film? Jack Russell, Elsa Bloodstone, and Man-Thing all made their debut appearance in the Werewolf by Night film. All have a history in the Midnight Suns of the comics. This creates the basis for a supernatural Avengers akin to the appearance of heroes like the Hulk, Captain America, and Iron Man in their own films before the big team-up. With Werewolf by Night, though, multiple potential candidates for the team came forward. While Man-Thing was set up in prior MCU films, this was his first feature appearance. Everyone say, "Hi, Ted!" From Jack Russell's iconic tattoos of wolves and moons to Elsa Bloodstone's martial arts skills, we saw a glimpse of our unlikely hero's signature looks and abilities in Werewolf by Night. This many characters forms a strong basis for the inevitable group-up film already, but they could be joined by the likes of MCU newcomers with other well-loved film appearances like Blade or the already well-established Doctor Strange. The forthcoming Moon Knight is also an obvious addition to the roster. More obscure characters with spottier past like Ghost Rider and Iron Fist are an option. Based on how Marvel's chosen to handle such rocky starts in the past, they could receive a Hulk-style recast upon joining the main cast, although it would be pretty sick to see Nicolas Cage in the MCU or Robbie Reyes from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fame coming back from the cancellation graveyard. This has set up the players, but what's the plot going to be like? What will we really see the Midnight Suns do? And why are they the only team in the MCU up to the task? We're expecting it to take a few years before we get the Midnight Suns, but with these major steps, they may just come sooner than expected. As MCU Phase 5 is fully announced, it won't be arriving before 2025 for sure. Phase 6 is the first opportunity, but if 4 or 5 additional MCU films need to build out the cast, then we'll be waiting about 4 years for Phase 7, which is why it's so important that Werewolf by Night has already brought us 3 solid characters to staff the team. The Moon Knight miniseries has provided the Midnight Suns with plenty of potential extra recruits, and the Midnight Suns film itself could serve as introduction for at least one major new player. Next up, what does the tone of Werewolf by Night tell us about what Midnight Suns will be like? Marvel has now had its first out-and-out success with horror in the MCU. After immense success, Marvel has played their popularity close to the chest with action comedy aimed at a wide mainstream audience. Can you imagine an MCU team-up film with blood, gore, jump scares, and surreal body horror? Well, they may not be ready to fully press the envelope just yet. The door's been kicked wide open for horror comics fans, from the far-gone days of the Adventure Comics Spectre series to more recent works like Fatale. Horror comics have an important role to play in the overall comics ecosystem that has thus far been overlooked by the MCU. Will Marvel go on to dominate this sphere as well? Or will the horror genre crown prove elusive to the Hollywood titan that has built a family-friendly audience? Only time will tell. It's not impossible we'll see beef between Russell and other MCU stars, Captain America Civil War style. Moon Knight's first comic appearance involved battling Russell, and Deadpool has been known to go toe-to-toe with him. While both have a comedic tinge to their appearances, the horror-comedy combo is a logical next step for the MCU. We know Marvel looks to the original source material for inspiration, so what comics are they looking at to drive Werewolf by Night from here? From a desperate bid for control of the vile grimoire Darkhold, in his first standalone comics appearance to fighting Dracula a few times over the years, we can be certain this werewolf isn't likely to quit on the supernatural fighting career anytime soon. Will we see a mutant Gorgon turn herself to stone in an upcoming film, or will they riff a little farther from the original material? What do you think? And now, what role will the introduction of Bloodstone Manor play in the Midnight Suns films? Spoilers for Werewolf by Night here, but Elsa gets the Bloodstone weapon and runs Bloodstone Manor. Deep within the Bloodstone Temple, the monster-hunting cabal of her father formally plan their next moves. This obvious home base means there's a lot of opportunity for major missions launched out of here. Will there be an Endgame-style team spaceship? Well, the Midnight Suns tend to roll a bit less intergalactic and a bit more supernatural. With this base of operations for their adventures, one could expect an organization dedicated to sorting out right from wrong on an international stage like the Avengers. But the comics history of the Bloodstone Manor, acting as a curious shop under a lease and housing a treasure trove of many magic items hidden in secret chambers, gives lots of opportunities. An entire act of a Midnight Suns film could probably revolve around shenanigans in the house proper. Overall, the existence of Bloodstone Manor is like an additional character, but bigger. The staged to set the drama, and established an iconic location associated with this corner of the MCU-verse for use in crossovers, callbacks, and their own eventual cornerstone, Midnight Suns movie. Will this setup be well paid off in the movie to come? We'll have to wait and see. Which leads us to Werewolf by Night was better off without the rumored MCU cameos. Rumors and speculation included a wide variety of MCU cameos. The appearance of major stars like Tony Stark or Steve Rogers can shore up an otherwise shaky title, and Werewolf by Night was a riskier MCU title the studio didn't put full confidence in or resources behind, as shown by its release on Disney Plus special presentations rather than a theatrical release. Within Phase 4, however, almost every title is a crossover with a minimum of one recurring character from across the MCU. There were myriad obvious options for a cameo inclusion, including Blade, Moon Knight, and other supernatural characters whose association with vampirism might come in handy. No, not Dr. Morbius. It's not Morbin time just yet in the MCU, given that he's still in the hands of other filmmakers. While Man-Thing has been set up prior, this was his first proper appearance within the MCU. While the explosively popular Moon Knight could have lent some of its early season viral success to the event, and Wesley Snipes' replacement, Mahershala Ali, could have gotten a much-needed test drive in front of audiences before Marvel bet the farm on his appearance to top the amazing quality of the original Blade films, it's ultimately for the best we don't see them, or any other major MCU returning characters. These would have distracted from the Werewolf by Night film, already featuring an ensemble cast it's trying to ground as their own characters. As previously mentioned, this was a big step to getting ready for the Midnight Suns film, but if they had to cut down screen time on debuting characters or slide in extra debuts, we could have seen a more fractured plot with less staying power and establishing success. But now, what's next? Great reviews and audience reception has put Werewolf by Night at the top of many charts. You don't need to be a movie market analyst to figure out it's popular either. Just look at everyone talking about it on social media. When was the last time a new backbench Marvel non-film event was this popular? Probably Luke Cage or the other Marvel TV shows when they were still working with Netflix, like Jessica Jones. Everyone's asking what's next. We've seen Moon Knight, and we know Blade is coming. And overall, the MCU films are refocusing on more supernatural elements. From Scarlet Witch to Doctor Strange, the supernatural has been teased into the largely sci-fantasy franchise. But at this point, we're full-bore vampires and werewolves. Someone go bring Edward Cullen out of retirement. It's his time to sparkle. With a new avenue for horror and the supernatural opened wide by the success of Werewolf by Night, it's safe to say we haven't seen the last of the supernatural horror side of the MCU. The major success has told the studio that we, as the audience, will come out in droves to see and support this sort of production. It's also a triumph for the digital distribution on Disney Plus, drawing more people away from already flagging cinemas in favor of at-home experiences, where Disney gets to cut out the middlemen at AMC and all the other silver screen emporiums. What do you think? Are we 4 years or more away from Midnight Suns, or are they cooking it up even faster than we expect as a surprise? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more like this.